Samsung's Galaxy S25 Trio are out and the Ultra has been met with some mixed emotions. However, when you take the smallest one, just the regular tiny Galaxy S25, it seems to get a pass. It too also hasn't evolved much since last year's Galaxy S24, which is which. But since it's the cheapest flagship Galaxy, I guess that's fine. And when you compare it to another stale flagship, Apple's iPhone 16, which is supposedly the mainstream iPhone to get, there is a clear winner. Eschewing my typical ambiguous style, I'd say that this year the Galaxy S25 is the better phone to get. Oops, spoiler, what gives? Well, 1, it is the better looking phone. 2, nothing wrong with me. 3, nothing wrong with me, but something's got to give. The bezels of the S25 are razor sharp, the entire body is slightly lighter and slightly thinner, especially at the camera bump. The Galaxy S25 does everything to make you feel like you've got yourself a pretty high-class device. Now, the iPhone 16 is an iPhone. It has iOS 18, the action button, the new camera control button. Overall, it feels nice, but it has that aura of you could have done better. The bezel is noticeably thicker. The screen is still stuck to 60 Hz. By God, Apple, it's 2025. And the camera module on the back only has 2 lenses, where the Galaxy S25 gives you the full triple threat experience. Granted, Apple's zoom isn't doing much worse than the Galaxy S25, even if it doesn't have a zoom lens, but we'll get to that. In the performance department, the Galaxy S25 is flaunting that brand new Snapdragon 8 Elite for Galaxy Edition. It's slightly overclocked, otherwise it's the same 8 Elite you'd find elsewhere. The first 3nm chip from the company has generally been a success so long as the manufacturers manage its thermal output. The iPhone 16 rocks an Apple A18, which should be only slightly less powerful than the A18 Pro, but the Snapdragon 8 Elite kind of showed it what's what, pulling higher score in both CPU and GPU benchmark tests. Benchmarks are for geeks though. How do these phones feel? The iPhone is the iPhone. It has a typical responsive experience and somehow feels good even with a 60 Hz screen. The keyboard is so fast to respond with the correct button tap, it's like it's reading my mind. There are a few reasons why so many people prefer iPhones, and the user experience is one of them. But the Galaxy S25 just flies. That 120 Hz screen definitely does it a good favor, making it feel buttery smooth, fast and responsive. It is, in general, the better experience. The user interface is Samsung's super polished One UI 7, which looks like a mixture between Android, iOS and whatever imaginative idea Samsung threw in the mix. Like Samsung DeX, which does work on the smallest Galaxy S25, just hook it up to a monitor or a hub and you get the desktop environment to work in. Plus, you get some of the Apple ideas here. The Now bar is pretty much a dynamic island. It shows you active and ongoing notifications in an easy-to-reach spot. The camera has these filters like Apple's photographic styles. Even the AI kind of sort of glows around like Apple's AI, but in different colors. Speaking of colors, neither of these displays will disappoint you, aside from the aforementioned 60 Hz lock on the iPhone, of course. Both have excellent peak brightness and very low sub-nit minimum brightness. And their color accuracy is pretty good. That's when leaving some typical OLED pentametric issues aside. Now let's talk about these pretty cameras. Oh, hold on, this S25 is thin, but I'm also worried about its ability to survive a violent drop. So thanks to Subcase for sponsoring this video and sending a bunch of cases for the Galaxy S25. The Subcase UB Pro is an all-round protection case with front and back for your Galaxy S25. Yes, it has a front shell which includes a screen protector, which is still compatible with the fingerprint scanner. The Subcase for Galaxy S25 also has an integrated kickstand, which slides out to become a ring holder as well. The Subcase UB Pro also comes with a second shell to add a belt clip to the case and increase the durability even further. The multi-layered subcase has been drop tested at 20 feet and it's super grippy, so it will make sure that you don't drop your phone in the first place. and even if you do, it will protect it. Thanks to Subcase for sponsoring this video. Going on to the cameras now. The Galaxy S25 comes with a full trio. That's a 50 megapixel main camera, 12 megapixel ultra-wide camera and 10 megapixel telephoto camera with 3x zoom. The iPhone has the 48 megapixel main camera and 12 megapixels ultra-wide. For any zooming purposes, it crops into the 48 megapixel sensor and that's it. Truthfully though, the iPhone zoom is not half bad. You're only limited to 10x, but it holds it together pretty well, assisted by software processing. The Galaxy S25 can go up to 30x and it also holds up quite well at that max zoom. For photos, both of these cameras have a slightly different take on what's normal. The Galaxy pictures look a bit colder, a bit less contrasty. The iPhone has that signature yellowish warmth in it, plus deeper shadows making for a stronger contrast. The details on the S25 are a bit softer this year, a welcome change in a world where manufacturers dial sharpening to 11, but it doesn't achieve the soft detail quality that the S25 Ultra did. In general, the iPhone 16 scored a couple of points more on our camera benchmark test, negligible differences made even less important by the photographic styles of the iPhone or the new camera filters on the Galaxy, where you can spend hours tinkering and finding your own style of expression in this world. The cherry on top would be the battery life here. It's worth noting that iOS is extremely good at preserving battery life while the iPhone is in standby, which is why a lot of people can rock these on a 2-day charging cycle easily. However, our tests only measure screen on time, on throughout, all the time. That's what we geeks care about. And the Galaxy S25 got in 2 hours of extra gaming and 2 hours of extra browsing time. On YouTube binging, it lasted 30 minutes more than the iPhone. Both of these phones cost $800, not counting any promotions or trade-ins, and it looks like the Samsung is just giving you a little bit more for your $800. Lastly, I do want to mention software updates. Now, Samsung Galaxy flagships now do come with 7-year software update commitment, which is very, very good. Apple never outright promises how long it will support an iPhone 4, but historically, iPhones have gotten 5 years of iOS updates before Apple called end of life. So, unless that policy has changed, and again, Apple does not talk about updates, so who knows, you could say Samsung is the winner here. But I do want to stress that, as with any Android phone besides Pixels, the Galaxies are a bit slower to get their updates. Samsung was getting a bit better at that, but it seems it has dropped the ball again this year. The new One UI 7 that is currently live on the Galaxy S25 here will come to the Galaxy S24 series sometime in April? Maybe? The older S23 series? Maybe May. Whereas Apple always pushes out iOS immediately. You see Tim Cook announce it on stage, you can download it. More or less. Just an interesting point I wanted to make to put some pressure back on Samsung. And yes, both of these phones have AI, like way too many features with the AI moniker slapped onto them, most of which you will forget about, but they have what matters, the AI summary for long articles or recordings. Thanks. Otherwise, 800 versus 800. I'd pick this phone. Now, if you're all about the Apple Watch and the AirPods and the Macs and the iPads, okay, I probably can't change your mind. If you're platform agnostic though, I can't make a lot of arguments for the iPhone. Oh, it has a camera control button. I hate it. Bye! See you next time. Subscribe and like! And comment!